If you've been in church for very long, you've heard numerous complaints about the sound being too loud. However, it seems like a small percentage of the people are doing all the complaining. But how do we know if their complaint is legitimate? This question often leads to the purchase of an Spl meter, which definitely has its purpose, but there's a better way. And I'll tell you all about it in this video. This video is brought to you by Behringer X32 Mastery, the fastest way for church sound techs to master the X32. And with the team license, you can enroll unlimited team members now and in the future. Finally, everyone will be on the same page. Visit x32.church or click the link in the description to learn more. First off, what is an Spl meter anyways? Well, they measure the sound pressure level in decibels and are primarily used in industrial spaces to help protect workers' ears. See, Wikipedia says that the reading from a sound level meter does not correlate well to human perceived loudness. And I couldn't agree more. But before I explain why, let's touch on frequency weighting. You see, the human ear is more sensitive to frequencies between 500 Hz and 8 kHz and is less responsive to very low pitch or high pitch frequencies. However, in a louder environment, such as a modern church service, the human ear has a much flatter response, becoming more responsive to those very low pitch and high pitch frequencies. Now, because of this, most Spl meters have two frequency weighting options, A and C. A weighting gives the very low pitch and high pitch frequencies less weight than the 500 to 8 kHz range. Like the human ear, it effectively cuts off the frequencies that the average person cannot hear. But C weighting has a much flatter response, just like the human ear does in louder environments. In situations such as a modern church service or a concert, C weighting should be used due to higher volumes and the use of subwoofers to produce higher volume of those low frequency noises. Now that you know what they are, let's talk about why Spl meters may not be the most effective way to solve your loudness problem. You see, the problem with using an Spl meter for a church service is that it only gives you an overview of what's going on in the room. So using it to gauge how loud to run your mixer is like flying over your house in a helicopter to see if you need a new roof. Sure, you may be able to see like a missing patch of shingles from up there, but you're not going to see the one cracked shingle that's actually causing the leak. You see, when someone complains that the music is too loud, it's generally just one portion of the frequency range that's hurting their ears, not the entire mix. However, to fix the problem, most sound techs are instructed to turn the entire mix down, and the result is a mix that lacks energy. So instead of using an Spl meter, I recommend using a sound frequency analyzer, also known as a real-time analyzer or RTA. Specifically, I recommend the Octave RTA iPhone app. This will enable you to find the exact frequency range that's causing your loudness problems. Then you can simply use EQ to fix the problem without having to turn down the entire mix. For example, I once mixed in a building that had all kinds of sound problems. Microphones would easily feed back, and achieving a good mix was impossible. But by using the Octave RTA app, I found that the 400 Hz range and the 800 Hz range bounced around like wild in our room. Now, I'm not sure why this happens, but I know that the surfaces and room dimensions have a big part to play. Luckily, I was able to use EQ to cut some troublesome frequencies and provide a more even room response, setting the foundation for a great mix. Now, if you're looking for a step-by-step process on how to set EQ with an RTA, you're in luck. I have a video for that, and I'll include a link in the description to my video called How to Set EQ with Your iPhone Sound Frequency Analyzer. Now, there's a happy place in church sound where there's plenty of energy, but it's not overly loud. This is where I want to be in every service. The room should not feel naked, but should be full of sound. Now, keep in mind, there's still going to be those who think this type of environment is too loud, but it's absolutely impossible to keep everybody happy, so don't even try. Simply do your best to create an atmosphere that's conducive to worship. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments. I'd be glad to answer. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, give me a thumbs up to let me know. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the little bell so that we can let you know when a new video comes out. I'll see you next time.